this. Right. From here onwards, the recording starts now. So the four scenarios that we discussed in the four previous classes, the BTS is going to be changing over, or the BSc is going to be changing over, or MSc is also going to be changing over. These are all the four scenarios. So what are the names that we have been given over for these four scenarios, while the mobile user is going to be changing from one area to the another area, whether he is in his own radio cell or moving to the another radio cell which is under the same BSc, or moving to the another radio cell area which is under another BSc. Otherwise, the particular MS is going to be moving to the other area which is under the control of another MSc, right? So these are all been given like this: intra-cell handover, within which the narrowband interference takes with the BSc could that is change the carrier frequency. There is nothing but changing from one radio cell to the another radio cell, but the BSc is going to be having the same controller. That is the same BSc. That is the first case that we've been discussed. Next one is intercell intra BSc. That is nothing but the cell is going to be changing over, whereas BSc is also going to be changing over. That is, the mobile station moves from one cell but stays within the control of the same BSc. See, this is the case. That is, the intra-cell handover is the case where you are going to be having the call from one dial to the another dial. So for the single dial, we are not going to be getting connected. In that case, whenever there is a problem, the BSc is going to be changing your carrier frequency, so that for your second call, second dial itself, we are going to getting connected with your receiver. That is the case, intra-cell handover, changing the carrier frequency. Next one is intercell intra BSc. That is the first case, moving from the control of one radio cell to the another radio cell, but under the same BSc controller. Okay, next one is inter-BSc, intra-MSc. That is, we are changing from one radio cell to the another radio cell, whereas BSc is going to be changing over between the cells controlled by the different BSCs, but under the same MSc controller. That is inter-BSc, intra-MSc handover, right? Next one is inter-MSc handover. That is moving from the area which is under the control of different MSc separately. That is of another category, right? These are all the four scenarios that is being discussed under the handover mechanism. And also we discussed about the mobile terminated call in the last class, right? We'll move to the security concept today. Simply just we know about how the corresponding security has been implemented, what are the algorithms. No need to get into deep of this particular algorithms. Already these algorithms will be known by you and learned by you in this the CNS subject, right? So here the GMS is going to be offering you the security, and this particular security is maintained in the authentication center AUC under the NSS subsystem in your GSM architecture. We already discussed about the three subsystems of the GSM architecture, within which NSS subsystem, that is a network and switching subsystem consisting of a separate component called as authentication center AUC, which is going to maintaining your security and identifying the subscribers, giving you the identification numbers like TMSI, IEMI, IMSI, and all those things. So while maintaining this particular authentication, so what sort of algorithms it is going to maintaining while encrypting your data, while transferring the information, while transferring the voice, while transferring the messages or transferring the images and all these, what sort of encryption techniques and encryption algorithms it is going to follow for offering your security while maintaining the data and encrypting your certain identification numbers in the authentication center, right? So this particular algorithms, which will be useful for different categories, that is identification, encryption, and generation of the cipher keys will be done by the different algorithms in GSM architecture or GSM mechanism. See, this algorithm A3, that is AAA algorithm is used for authentication of the subscriber, whereas A5 section will be for encryption of your voice or text data, and whereas 888 for the generation of the cipher key. See, while sending the data in a plain way, that is, a plain text will not be sent, but the plain text will be converted into the cipher text. That is, we are generating the cipher key, right? So while generating the cipher key, what sort of algorithm that you are going to use is the A8 algorithm. And while encrypting your data, while encrypting your voice, you are going to use the A5 algorithm. And for authentication of the subscribers, that is, for giving the authentication of the users, A3 will be used, right? So in that way, these three algorithms will be used. And how this particular will be done, that is, these two steps will be done in identification of the things. See, here it is AUC of us, and mobile network is here, the SIM from the mobile user. And here how the corresponding thing will be done. That is how the encryption of the data, how the random keys will be generated, how the what is called as voice encryption will be done, authentication of the subscriber will be done, how the algorithms will be happening here. Here we'll see the A3 for the authentication of the users. The authentication center will be taking care of identification of the individual subscriber authentication key and also random bit generation of that particular algorithm. And it is going to be finally generating the SRES, that is nothing but the signed response from the corresponding mobile user, right? The person who is going to be calling, is going to be generating 128-bit data. That is nothing but he's going to be getting the data. I mean, he's going to be encrypting himself by using algorithm called as A3. So what he's going to be generated with, how he's going to be getting this particular A3 data on his SIM by further identification of himself. So that particular identification will be done by the AUC on the NSS subsystem. So from the network itself, from the network subsystem itself, your identification number will be randomly generated for your SIM and it will be given to you. That is, the authentication center is going to be implementing the A3 and it is going to be generating 128-bit of subscriber identification key and also 128-bit of random number. Combining both these, that is the 128-bit of subscriber identification key and a random bit of 128-bit identification numbers, 128 plus 128, finally it is going to be generating a 32-bit of signed information. Signed response of information will be generated and the same data will be given to the MSC for the cross-checking of our identification. The MSC is going to be storing your SRES, that is nothing but the signed response value, will be storing in itself. So whenever a call is being generated, the random bit will be only just transferred to the corresponding SIM or a SIM subscriber or the mobile subscriber. The random bit along with the corresponding subscriber identity, which is retaining with the cell subscriber or the mobile subscriber, will be combined as done in the authentication center, and it is going to be generating SRES, 32-bit SRES on the side of the mobile user. This particular SRES is going to be sent to the MSC by us whenever you are raising the call. Our BSC from the BSS, from the BTS, the call will be transferred from the BTS to the BSS and BSS to the BSC, and there onwards it will be connecting to the MSC to switch to the corresponding receiver or to get connected with the corresponding receiver. So before getting to that, connected to that particular receiver, the MSC is going to be checking your identification. That is, mobile switching center will be checking your identification. So what sort of identification it will be checking? The SRES, that is a signed response, which is generated from your mobile side or your SIM side, will be sent to the corresponding MSC by raising your call. And already it is having some signed response corresponding to your SIM itself, which has been generated by the authentication center, which has been stored by the MSC for cross-checking your SRES whenever you are been raising call. So for each and every SIM, that is the subscriber identification of your mobile, subscriber identification of your mobile, SIM number, authentication number, given as the SRES 32-bit, will be stored by the MSC. All the subscribers locally given with some SIM number will be stored by the MSC. SRES will be stored for that all those SIMs. So whenever the corresponding SIM is going to be generating a call or a mobile is been generating a call, the corresponding same SRES is going to be generating by that particular call and it will be sent to the MSC to connect with the corresponding receiver to which we want to communicate with. So the same SRES is going to be cross-checked against. That is, from that list of SRES, it is going to be cross-checking our SRES, whether you are the feasible user or not, you are the authorized user or not. So once your SRES is going to be matching with the available list of SRES with the MSC, then you will be identified with the corresponding authorized subscriber. Then only your receiver number will be get connected to you. Okay, this will be done within the fractions of second. The subscriber won't identify that what's happened and what is going to be happening within no time. So this is going to be the generation of the random bits, generation of the SRES, cross-checking the SRAs among the list of the SRAs having with the MSc, everything will be done in the within no time. So while dialing, everything will be happening. While getting the ringtone, we have been done with. So once the ringtone has been done, get connected with the receiver. Before that particular ring has been heard by the receiver of your friend or your neighbor or your relative or whoever may be, your identification has been done with already. Okay, so within no time that is being done. So on the corresponding receiver side also the same thing will be happen. On the corresponding receiver side also the same thing will be happen. A3 will be identified. After that A5 will be done for. In between A5 will be done. Once the call has been established, A5 will be implemented for encryption of your voice, whereas A8 will be implemented for the what is called as texting. Ciphertext will be get generated and your text will be get encrypted, right? So before getting the call, this A3 will be done for identification of yourself, and after the identification has been done, after the connection has been established, the A5 or and also the A8 will be implemented. A5 for authentication of your, sorry, encryption of your voice, and A8 for texting encryption, right? So this is the security, how the what is called as confidentiality and anonymity will be followed against the subscribers who are being calling in group or in individual, right? So all the BTSs, all the MSs and all the TMSA numbers, all the VLRs and all the HLRs are going to maintaining the information and maintaining the corresponding codes in order to check your identification and your receiver identification and maintaining the established connection in a secured way, maintaining the confidentiality among the call where while it is going on and anonymity while connecting to the connections, right? So this is about the security mechanism that will be followed by the GSM and the new data services of the GSM. So other than the three services, the basic services that are provided by GSM, there is nothing but the bearer services are there, tele services are there, supplementary services are there. Those are the three main services that are provided by the GSM with the three subsystems of the architecture. And also we discussed about the protocol stack of the corresponding GSM. The advanced services of the GSM are of two approaches. What are those? High speed circuit switched data and GPRS. General packet radio service. GPRS is the general packet radio service. HSD the high speed circuit switched data. What are these four introduced? Well, how they have been considered as the advanced services of this particular GSM, we will see. See, this particular high speed circuit switched data, which is used for sending the data at particular higher rates. At particular higher rates, bundling several traffic channels. We are having different channel hierarchy, right? We are having the traffic channels, we are having the control channels, we are having the physical channels, we are having the logical channels in the structure and hierarchy of the GSM, right? So among the particular total channel hierarchy, traffic channels are meant for conveying the user information, you know that, right? Traffic channels are meant for conveying the user information. Here, the HSCD is being introduced for higher data rates by bundling several traffic channels over. That is not considering a single traffic channel for conveying the information. Here, more number of traffic channels are bundled together to achieve the higher data rates. So here, it is going to be allocating several number of TDMA slots within a TDFM. That is nothing but we already know about the TDMA hierarchy, how it has been accommodating many number of users into a single slot by combining many number of TDMA frames into a single frequency band of spectrum. In that way itself, it is accommodating 800 million number of users around the globe from 190 countries. As we know, we discussed about how the hyperframes are being organized, how the superframes are organized, how the multi-frames are organized, all these things. The single TDMA frame, all those frames are being organized so as to accommodate multiple number of users who can communicate on the same channel on parallel interval of time without any conflict and having a pure conversation or a pure conveying of the information or transmission of the data over, right? So how this particular HSCD is going to be implementing is bundling over many number of traffic channels. To bundle over that particular many number of traffic channels, we do have to combine many number of TDMAs into a single TDMA to follow up to accommodate heavy data or the bulky data in a single frame, right? So this allocation will be asymmetrical. That is more number of will be allocated on the downlink than on the uplink. That is, data will be get dumped over to the user rather than uplinking, right? But the major disadvantage of HSCD is it is going to be used or implemented only at the connection oriented GSM technique, connection oriented mechanisms of the GSM, which is not for our wireless data traffic, but it has been only possible. HSCD is being only possible for the wired connections of GSM model. Okay, it's not been feasible for the air traffic. That is nothing but the wireless traffic. It is not possible with the HSCD. That is, the higher data traffic is not possible with the HSCD in air. It is been only with the wired traffic, right? Right. This is about the HSCD. And coming to the GPRS, General Packet Radio Service. General Packet Radio Service. This has been accessible with the GSM, and it has been another name for this particular General Packet Radio Services, IS-136. That is nothing but the mobile users who are been using this particular first GPRS is the IS-136. The mobile name, that is the mobile version, this is the mobile version IS-136. These mobile phone users are the ones which are being using the GPRS first time, right? This service is of what is called as a packet service. That is how you are going to be sending the data over the radio signals itself in the form of a packet. You are going to sending the data in the form of a packet, and the same transmission channel for transmitting the data also. That is, the radio channel is being used for sending the data. That is the voice over the data over the voice. That is, we are going to be multiplexing both the data and the voice for the same channel. On the same channel itself, the data and also voice are going to be sending. That is the speciality of the General Packet Radio Service, right? Okay, so this is the third generation, that is a 3G. This is a major step of the 3G step. This GPRS is the major step of a 3G, and it is going to be known as the GSM IP, that is the Global System Mobile Communication Internet Protocol. Is used in keeping the systems online, allowing you to make the voice calls and access the internet on the go. That is, the data and the voice calls are also going on the same line as we discussed. As I told you that the same channel will be used for both the voice and the data signals. And for that purpose, it is going to be using exclusively the internet layer. That is, the internet protocol will be used for this GPRS for the GSM version. So that's why it has been also called as GSM IP. This is the version of the GPRS, right? So this is the version of the GPRS. This is the version of the GSM. One of the advanced service of the GSM, which is called as the GPRS, but it is going to be using the internet protocol. So that's why it is called as the GSM IP also. So there you can make a voice call, and at the same time you can also use the internet access for the data service. Here you are going to use the same purpose, that is the TDMA, for the use of for the sake of accommodating the packets in the packet radio access. So even time division multiple access users are going to be benefiting using this particular GPRS system, right? So already we know, I discussed about this particular internet protocol is going to be used, integrating both the voice and the data applications. And in the current version of the GPRS, it is going to be using the X.25 networks for global users. That is nothing but, as the GPRS has been the globalized network, it has become the globalized network, permitting the operators to use the internet protocol for exchanging the information on the same channel, multiplexing both the corresponding voice and data what is called as data values, that is data services. Both the voice service and the data service are being exclusively used on the same channel using the internet protocol. And the network that is being exclusively used for the global users, that is around the globe, all universally all the users are going to be using the both the private and corporate intranets, and at the same time X.25 network. So already you know about these versions in the computer networks, and this is going to be used and it is been written by this GPRS specifications, who are being written by this ETSA. Already discussed about this ETSA, European Telecommunication Standard Institute, and it is also the European counterpart of the ANSI. That is already you know about American National Standard. This is the counterpart of the corresponding ETSA. That is, ETSA is the counterpart of ANSI, and ETSA has been written the specifications and rules and protocols for the GPRS. and it is a version or it is a part of the GMS already, you know. And coming to the key features of this particular GPRS, why this GPRS has been exclusively useful for us, why it has been called as a advanced version of the GSM. Why it has been called as the advanced version of the GSM is it's going to be every time online. The first and foremost and important feature is always online feature. No need of dialing up, no specific thing to dial up each and every time to get online. It's a one click away, simply getting onto the mobile data and getting onto the internet every time we want to get connected with the network and get connected with the friends. So that is simply connecting to the network by a single click itself. No need of dialing up each and every time our friend or getting to that particular line or getting to that particular specific thing. So what we are doing now, present generation is doing, that is calling our friends, calling our users, or calling our neighbors, and every time whenever we are on the network, simply we are dialing our friends or calling our friends without every time dialing up or checking out whether they are on the line, whether they are on whether they has to get connected with them, calling them, informing them, get connected to the network. All these things are not there. Every time you are just by clicking a particular link or a particular network, you are simply getting online or you are connecting with the friends. Okay, and upgrading to the existing system. No need of having any enhancements in the hardware or even software. Simply using the existing equipment itself, we can implement the GPRS. We can implement the GPRS architecture with the existing GSM architecture. No need of upgradation, right? That can be done with the existing system itself. And next one is an integral part of the future 3G system. That is nothing but using the edge. That is already we discussed about this edge and the WCDMA while discussing about the digital standards of the communication. That is, edge is one of the digital standard communication, WCDMA, wide code division multiple accessing, and extended division multiple accessing, everything. That is edge and the WCDMA are the digital standards. So this particular networks can also be using the 3G systems. Here the GPRS can also be implemented. See, already we discussed in the second step, that is the second feature. It can be implemented with the existing equipment, even though it's an advanced version of the GSM. So that the same 3G systems which are implementing in the edge and the WCDMA, we can also implement the corresponding GPRS in this part of 3G systems, right? So goals of the GPRS is how it is going to be implemented in the future, what it is, which aim it is has been introduced is, it should be an open architecture. It should be an open source for all the users, and consistent IP services, internet protocol services are to be used. And you know that same infrastructure for all the different air services. So what we are being implemented, how we have been entered into the 4G and 5G, this is because of the same infrastructure for different air services. That is nothing but air interfaces. Whether you are using the 3G interface or you are using the 4G or you entered into the 5G, no interface is being changing. Or whether you are working under any other network service provider, whether it is an Airtel or a Jio or maybe a VI, what is being implemented with the Vodafone and the Idea in combination. Whatever way the future comes in, whatever the network services that are being provided comes in future, all are going to be implemented with the same air interfaces. That is the aim of the GPRS, with the consistent IP services. And both the telephony and the internet infrastructure that we already discussed leverage industry investment in IP. That is the thing, but industries can come forward to get investment on the internet more for using this particular GPRS services. That is nothing but they couldn't have any specific laws. That is, they can accommodate or they can twist to or they can mold it to any type of infrastructure. That is, they can invest without any hesitation. Without any hesitation, they can invest on this particular industry. And at the same time, service innovation independent of infrastructure. Already we know about, without any infrastructure, without any dependence on the infrastructure, this particular GPRS implementation can be done. Right? These are all the goals, main goals. That is, it could be open source, it could be consistent among the internet, and industries can come forward without any hesitation, and they can invest it according irrespective of the infrastructure. And at the same time, in future also, all the services can be implemented with the same common interface. And we can integrate, that is, or we can multiplex both the telephony and the internet infrastructures on the same environment, on the same platform. That is the main goal, right? And benefits of GPRS is obviously higher data rates. Okay, as we are been combining both the data and the telephony, we'll have the higher data rates and easy billing also. Okay, that easy billing has been come with the GPRS itself. That is, each and every time you are going to be using the data, and each and every time you are going to be having the call tariffs. Every time we are even updating. That is nothing but what we are being reminded with the talk balance, and what we are depending with the data balance. How you are been viewing that, of how you have introduced your own provider apps. That is, Airtel app is there, Airtel Thanks app is there, Idea app is there. Every time you are been checking your services, every time you are been having your balance to be checked with, and what are all the different offers available, and how you are been recharging your, what are all the top-ups available, how you are been checking, what are these easy billing. That easy billing has been possible with only with the GPRS itself. And coming to the applications, what are the applications that have been possible with the GPRS in real time? That is nothing but mobility. That is, we can move over. No system no system cannot be mobile. That is static. Sorry, no system cannot be static. Everything can be mobile. Either maybe the modem or maybe the corresponding mobile users. Mobility is being possible. It can be moved over. No specific boundaries for the locality or the geo situations, and at the same time immediacy. Nothing but every time the user can immediately call or immediately connect to the network, and he can communicate with his friends without any hesitation, right? All these things have been possible with the corresponding GPRS. And at the same time localization, both the corporation users and also the consumers all are coming into the same region. They are been coming into the same packet, or what you can say, on the same platform, and in the same shelter, and they are under the same shelter. Both this localization regarding to the corporation and the consumer, or corporation or the consumer, are being again levelized, or they are going to be done into the two levels. That is the communication and value added services. That is, whether the corporation levels are being providing you the communication services or any value added services. The value added services will mainly used for the industry levels, and consumers are going to be held on, or they are being depending upon the communications, as already you know. We have been discussed about this value added networks in the e-commerce also in the second year, right? And coming to the e-commerce, this is a broad application of the mobile communicating network, already you know. And location based applications, depending upon the location, we can also implement certain locations, like what you are calling as it's like booking the cabs, booking the food, or getting the food. Depending upon the location, you are being using the apps based upon the location and the region also, right? Food apps are there, cab apps are there, or traveling apps are there, and whatnot. You are booking your function halls and all those things depending upon the location based applications. And vertical applications. See, this is the major application that we can see, which can be useful in the future also. That is nothing but the GPR is being implemented in such a way that it can be useful for future enhancements also. It can be easily adaptable for the future applications. The horizontal applications is nothing but the same type of applications has to be implemented, or the same type of developments can be possible with the existing GPRS model or GPRS techniques. But here with the corresponding GPRS introduction, the applications are being implemented in a vertical fashion. That is nothing but a new thing can be implemented, or a new innovation can be renovated using the same implementation of the GPRS. The applications can be get forwarded, the applications can be get implemented, or they can be enhanced to the next level, not remained only with the generation. That is, while talking with the GPRS, the GPRS is used to be the corresponding decades introduction, or it is going to be used in that particular era. It couldn't be the discussion. The GPRS can be continuously used in the coming eras also, the coming versions also, coming generations also. In that way, the vertical applications are being implemented, right? The advertising, easily this particular advertising will be helpful for us. That is, advertising is one of the main application of this particular mobile communication. Already you know of that. Everything that is being known by the users by the advertising itself. That is, while discussing the e-commerce, and while getting the information through, that is, by getting the mobile applications itself, by working with the mobile applications itself, we used to know about the most of the knowledge, that what are all the available products, what are all the available customers, what are all the available industries, what are all all the available, what is called as the locations, all these things can be known, right? That is being possible with advertising. So these are all the different application areas in real time with the GPRS. So with the benefits of the higher data rate and the easy building, these are all the different applications that we can see through in the real time, that the mobility is being possible, immediacy in calling or getting the connections in the network, localization, that is nothing but making the corporations and the consumers coming into the same shelter, providing the e-commerce environment, location-based applications are there, advertising and providing the vertical applications. So that is about the GPRS, right? The GPRS is one of the version of the corresponding advanced versions of the GSM, whereas HSSD is also been there, but it's not been working for the wireless traffic, right? Radio traffic is not suitable with. And coming to the GPRS architecture, so this is how the GPRS architecture is being organized. Already we know about the different subsystems of the GSM, whereas how the additional things are being added with the GPRS architecture. PSTN already we know about, MSC is already know about, BSS is already know. That is EIR, Equipment Identification Register, Home Location Register, Authentication Center. Right, this is all about, this is belonging to the NSS, right? MSC and BSC. MSC is also belonging to the NSS itself, Network Switching Subsystem. And BSS is already, you know about, this is belonging to the radio cell. And circuit switched GSM, this is the CS GSM is being connected to the PSTN, through which the user is being connected to the network. And coming to this here, these are all the new things that we can see through the GPRS. This is the GPRS arrangement. The GGSN and SGSN, GGSN and the SGSN are the different things which will be used by this GPRS network, which are being connected to the IP network exclusively and X.25 network that we already discussed, that it is going to using the IP network and also the X.25 network to globalize the customers, right? And it is going to be connected with the internal backbone network of the SGSN. What are these SGSNs and the GGSNs that are being exclusively used by the GPRS? We'll see, right? Other than that, all the remaining similar components that we are being used with the GSM network, right? The network subsystem is there, and what is called as base station subsystem is there, through which the mobile user is being connecting to the corresponding network subsystem. Through the network subsystem itself, he has to connect with the corresponding network, that is to which the receiver has to connect through. So that particular network is being connected in a slighter way, it has been changed using the GPRS model, right? That is packet switch data signal. Okay, right? So what are all these things? We will see. I think our time is running. We need some more class for ending first unit. So with the corresponding architecture of the GSM and the GPRS nodes and the protocol stack, we are going to end it. So simply one class is needed for. So on one day you'll be completing this first unit. There you are going to be having the review session of the first unit also. So please refer the back topics also, that is previous topics. We discussed about the mobile communication, how it is being varied with the normal communication, what are all the fundamentals of the mobile communication, and how we are being entered into the mobile computing environment with the fundamentals of the mobile communication. There we discussed about the modulation techniques, standard multiple accessing techniques, and multiplexing techniques, which with the particular basics of that particular modulation, multiple accessing, and multiple digital standards of that particular communication, we entered into the mobile computing environment, within which how you are been implementing various techniques, and that is nothing but how you are been implementing different it is called as a GSM, how you are been implementing GSM, which is a popular protocol in the mobile computing environment. What is its architecture, what are all the different services provided with the GSM, what is the protocol stack of GSM, and what are all the different versions, how it has been entered into the advanced versions of the GPRS and also the HSCSD, what are all the what is called as frame hierarchy of the GSM, and also corresponding service hierarchy, what are all the different versions we've been discussed about. And we in this particular class we discussed about the GPRS, and we have been reminded with the architecture of the GPRS right now. So before all these things by referring itself, come to the Monday class. So please don't get absent. Why are being absent for the afternoon classes? Even if it is the afternoon or if it is a morning class, everything will be reminding you the subject details itself, so that we will have the Monday class with the review session of the first unit and the remind topic of this particular GPRS protocols and the architecture. So please refer all the previous topics and come to that particular class with your own doubts so that we'll discuss and clear your doubts there. Okay, there with the particular Monday class itself, we'll be ending our first unit. There afterwards, from the second unit, we'll be running through. Why? Because as we are very new to this particular subject, as we are very new to this fundamentals of this particular subject, as we are practically using your mobile, we have to learn about the technical things at background so that we are stretched some more number of classes for this unit, so that from the second unit we'll be running through, so that refer that particular first unit thoroughly and come with your doubts. Whenever whatever the doubts we'll have with this particular first unit, we'll clear in the Monday class. Okay, here I am ending this session. Okay, so time is up, so get ready for the next session. So I'm stopping here.